Welcome back to Road to Fire. We're a family of three documenting our journey to fire, financial independence, retire early. Let's chat about our October budget check in. I will share all our real numbers and actual expenses through the 14th of the month in our budget and outline our savings plan. So please hang with me. There is nothing scarier than time. I can't believe it's already midway through October and 2020 is almost done. Our budget month to date is looking really good, and we luckily haven't had any unexpected expenses. So I manage the budget in our household because I love it, and I don't see it as a chore. I look at our budget 2 times a month. I look at it in the middle of the month to see how we're tracking to our plan, and then we have a closeout meeting to review our actuals, and I create the new budget at that same time. In total, I would say I spend about 1 to 1.5 hours a month on budgeting. And it hasn't always been this easy, but I'm happy to finally get a good routine in our budgeting process. So we budget using the zero-based budget method, which works really well for us. Essentially, all income has a line item in our budget. They are either tied to an expense or savings, and savings will also include our sinking funds and investments. It makes sure that all of our income is accounted for. We've never really hit our budget 100% perfectly, so I always leave a buffer. But for the month of October, I left a little bit larger than normal buffer because in September we had several unexpected expenses. But overall, I absolutely love this type of budgeting. To get into the details of how I budget, I use Mint to track our expenses across our accounts because it gives me an almost total view. The only problem with Mint is their syncing is not always the best and their transactions are a little bit delayed. So I do sometimes check Wells Fargo or Capital One to see if I have any other pending transactions that I haven't really hit Mint yet. I then input all of my expenses into Excel where I categorize things based on our individual lifestyle. I create trackers, formulas, and everything to make sure that I have a trend of what our expenses look like month over month. Excel works great for us as you just have to copy and paste the template month over month, and there's not a lot of manual things because everything's automated. But our budget has evolved over time. If I showed you our 2019 budget versus our 2020, it would look nothing like what you're currently seeing right now. So that's the great thing about Excel, that you can continue to update and change it based on your needs at the time. But the best part of budgeting is that once you automate your investing, expenses, and savings, then you don't really have to do anything manually at all, and it takes little time to manage your expenses each and every month. We've gotten to the point where all of the line items in our budget is automated. There are times when our income is increased, like next month when I will get my bonuses, or decreased due to maternity leave or job loss, where I may have to make manual adjustments, but for the most part, we simply set our numbers and forget it each and every month. Okay, let's get into our income statement. Note that this will show our actuals through the 14th, so this is not a true even split of the month. But the mid-month gives me a solid read on how we're tracking to our overall income as well as our expenses. So here's our October income report. This is a standard view for us. As expected for now, all of our income will come from our W-2s or our employers. October, November potentially might be the last month that our income report will look like this, but stay tuned. Ideally, we'll have more sources of income. So here are our details. Our W-2 income is fixed and represents after 401k and HSA contributions. That is planned at about $11,300, and half of that has already came through, as expected. We had no expected bonuses this month, so $0 have come into bonuses so far. And for passive income so far, about $37 have come in, and we expect to be around $100, and I'm sure we'll get there, as that's about the halfway mark. So total income right now is about $5,798, which is about the 50% mark. When looking at variance, we are nearly at the 50% mark on everything, so I'm not really too concerned about our income report so far. Now let's look over our expected expenses for October. Because Mint's tracking is slightly delayed, there might be some expenses that seem lower than expected for this time. Also keep in mind we have canceled most of our activities, programs, and childcare as we're moving the next 5 weeks, so some of the traditional expenses might be much lower than normal. So here's our October expense report. I always highlight our top 5 categories: savings, rent, car payment, tithing, and groceries. These 5 categories represent over 80% of our total expenses. I focus on these categories each month to see if we have areas that we could potentially decrease to continue to grow our savings rate. One thing to note, savings is seen as an expense here because we follow the zero-based budget method, but it's really not an expense. This is a great way for us just to track our savings month over month. Our total expenses are just around $11,000. I left nearly a $400 buffer because of all the unexpected expenses we had in September. I was a bit more conservative than normal. Whatever is left over each month is rolled into our savings. So here are the details through the 14th. Savings is our top line item, and we planned for $6,510, and so far we sent over $3,500. Our next biggest expense is rent at $1,800, which is average for our area. We live in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, updated brownstone in the Midwest. We haven't paid anything this far as we pay our rent at the end of the month. We'll then be sending about $700 to pay off our Tesla. This is our monthly payment with a small snowball payment, and we've drastically slowed down our debt-free journey to focus more on investing. Then we have tithing. We are Christians and believe in tithing 10% of our income for churches and charities. But you can see that the $500 that we have allocated doesn't represent 10% of our overall income. At the end of the year, particularly in November, December, when we receive our annual bonuses, we top up any balances that we have, quote unquote, owed to the church or to charities. We have a balance of about $9,000, but in this month so far, we paid $250. For groceries, we have been a little light this month as we shifted to more of a vegetarian diet to help us hit some of our fitness goals before the end of the year. We have spent so far about $85. For car insurance, we use Progressive, and this is the rate for both of our cars. We didn't get charged anything at all because we don't get billed until the third week of the month, so we've paid nothing so far. We have $150 for restaurants, and we've been eating out way too much and more than expected. But that's because life has gotten busy or I've gotten lazier, one or the other. So we spent about $118 so far. And our phone bill is pretty much fixed with Sprint at $167. We have an unlimited plan. We don't get charged until the end of the month, so this is zero as well. So these last expenses represent less than 10% of our total budget, so I don't scrutinize them that much, but I do focus on making sure that they're accurate overall. For utilities, we expected $155, which includes electricity, gas, and internet. We were only charged for internet so far, and that's been $52. For business expenses, that's about $150, which is high based on the last few months' trends, so I'll probably decrease this moving forward. I got charged for a few subscriptions, and that equated to about $19. Gas for both of our cars is expected to be around $130. My husband has been going into work a lot more than the 2 days that we expected, but we spent about $45 because he's been using the Tesla versus our Audi, which saves a lot on gas overall. So for childcare, this is for my son's swim lessons, and we've been charged the full $100. The additional $25 potentially for other items or toys he may need for the month, and so far we haven't bought anything. So household expenses are budgeted at $100. I did a large Target run costing us about $74 right now. Most of these items came with cash back on Ibotta, so you will see that offset through our passive income. So nothing planned for our apparel. In fact, I haven't bought clothes since about January, February, so that's coming in at zero. And entertainment is our Apple Cloud storage is the only thing that we really had charged so far, so that came in at $1. Total expenses so far to the month has come in about $4,900. This is fairly common for us to be slightly under 50% due to our payment dates on some of our expenses. My goal is to kind of balance that out in the coming months. So when we look at variance here, we're pretty much on track on all of our items here. The only two watch outs I'll have is restaurants and household. So we are moving and we actually are going to our hometown state in a couple of days, and that will require us to have a lot more takeout than normal as well as buying things for moving. So these are the two areas that I'll potentially watch out and check to make sure I'm on track for the remainder of the month. So I always share my monthly financial goals on my IG page, and I wanted to start adding that here as well. Follow me there if you want to get all the receipts and details in real time on my FIRE journey because I post there religiously. But my first goal was to send over $1,000 to debt. As of right now, we sent about $700. I might use the buffer money in our budget to hit this goal, but we'll see as the month continues to progress. Then I always plan to read 2 books a month. I always choose 1 finance book and 1 fiction book, and I finished the book Big Magic, which is a great fiction read on creativity. The third goal was to find a duplex and put an offer on it. We start touring houses this weekend, so I'm beyond excited to start that journey. And then the last goal was to cut into that $9,000 I owe in regards to the church and charity in tithing. I want to potentially donate about $1,000 to a local charity this month, and this might come from savings. I've already donated about $500, including 25,000 miles to several charities, and I wanted to push this to hit that $1,000 mark this month. I love goal setting as it pushes me each month. I always put goals that I feel are just out of reach to stretch me each month. So we are tracking to be on budget for this month, probably because I was very conservative and I added a large buffer. We will hit our 59% saving rate, and I hope this will be a continued trend for us. November will be an interesting month as there are a lot of moving factors at play. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, but don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.